So we're going to begin with a development variance permit, DVP 0113. So this is a public hearing. This public hearing is being convened pursuant to Section 890 of the Local Government Act in order to consider proposed development variance permit DVP 0113. At this public hearing, any person present who believes that his or her interest in property affected by the proposed DVP 0113 shall be given an opportunity to be heard on the matters contained in the proposed DVP 0113. However, it is important that all those who speak at this meeting restrict their remarks to matters contained in the development variance permit application, and it's my responsibility as chairperson of this meeting to ensure that all remarks are so restricted. Those of you who wish to speak concerning this proposed development permit should, at the appropriate time, commence your address to the council and meeting by clearly stating your name and address. Then you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposed permit. Members of council may, if they so wish, ask questions of you following your presentation. However, the main function of council members this evening is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at this public hearing to debate the merits of the proposed DVP 0113 with individual citizens. Everyone who deems his or her interest in property to be affected shall be given the opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making his or her views known. After this public hearing has concluded, council may, without further notice, give whatever effect council believes proper to the representation made at this hearing. During the course of a public hearing, people sometimes tend to become enthusiastic or emotional. Regardless of whether you favor or oppose any particular application or argument, please refrain from applause or other expressions of emotion. Restraint enables others whose views may or may not coincide with your own to exercise their right to express their views, and enables all views expressed to be heard in as impartial a forum as possible. So we'll take comments from the public on the development variance permit DVP 0113. I see the applicants aren't here with us either. Does anybody have anything to say about the proposed? Oh,
Your Worship, I think there's 3 times where you call for comments.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's right. It's not on there, but we just...
okay.
You've put it forward once.
Where's the script that I wrote?
That is it.
It should have 3 calls for comments.
Okay. Well, how are we going to keep track of how many times I call?
You've already called once.
Okay, fair enough. So, does anybody have any, would anybody like to speak to the proposed development permit 0113? Just so you know, this has been advertised in the newspapers. It's out there basically in some, if I could ask staff to just briefly explain the development permit, or development variance permit.
Debbie Knudslien had begun to build a roof over her existing mobile home to expand, add an addition to the mobile home, and had not applied for a building permit for that. When she did approach the building inspector, it was the project was quite far along, and she had asked for some assistance, and he identified that she needed to have a building permit. She applied for a building permit, worked very well with our building inspector, but he also identified that the roof on this addition was within the setbacks. At that point, the roof was already on, and so he advised her she would need to apply for a development variance permit. She's been, she's complied with the requirements of the village. She came in, applied for this, and provided a photo of the building, which is attached. And they're requesting a development variance permit. She's going to need a pole to support that roof, but it is understood that right now, with the ground frozen, she can't do that. That will be coming in spring.
Okay.
Thanks.
Right. So, third call for comments on development variance permit 0113. Okay, that's good. That's going to inform our decision on this when this comes to council. Hearing none, I'll call the public hearing to a close. Boom. All right. Okay, everybody back in the room. Welcome to our bi-weekly Valemount Council meeting. The vision of the Valemount, the vision of the village of Valemount is striving for a vibrant and balanced community And it's our mission to serve the community and embrace opportunity. So the first order of business here is to adopt tonight's agenda. Council, what's your wish?
Motion.
Okay, Councillor Latimer, Councillor Bullock. All in favor? Great. Let's take a look at the previous minutes. Let's get the minutes onto the floor. Move the minutes. Councillor Latimer, Councillor Salt. Any changes, omissions? Councillor Salt?
Very last resolution adjourning the meeting should be resolution number 062/13.
Okay.
Not 038. And then I just had a query. Just wondering if we're now omitting the line for bylaw officer reports, or was it just an oversight? Even though there was no report, we normally still have a line and say nil. So on page 4.
It's to be decided. So council will recall at the last meeting, we're temporarily stepping outside our procedural bylaw to experiment in this new format while we implement iCompass. So it was omitted this time, but we can certainly have a conversation as part of with iCompass and operationally if it should be in there every time, regardless of if we have a bylaw officer or not. If you would like it included in there, just for the record now, I can add it.
Like I said, just a question. I was asking if we're deciding to eliminate that.
I think there's some other bigger questions around that, around what our bylaw enforcement strategy.
Yeah.
So let's leave that one for now. Any other
That's
items?
it. That's all.
That's great.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Then, sorry, is the motion on the floor?
Yeah.
We've got a movement second. All in favor? Accepting the minutes so amended. Great, we have no delegations tonight. Moving on down to staff reports. We've got some exciting things here. We've got a staff report from the CBT Youth Initiative. Bingo.
Unfinished business?
Do you have the...
Unfinished business. Thank you. I just got the wrong one up here. Thank you. Give me a moment. This isn't on television, is it? Oh my God. Okay. We're rocking. So, item 5.1 under unfinished business. We have a request for a call for nominations. Council, have you considered who to put forth for a nomination? Just a quick inquiry. Do we have to do any work in advance of nominating somebody?
You don't have to nominate somebody.
I have a kind of an out-of-the-box nomination. Seth McDonald in Dunster for his work in promoting music and culture in the Valley.
Great idea.
Can council be supportive of that?
Are we looking within our regional district, or was this specifically for the village?
There are no
Okay.
boundaries. We don't need to prove citizenship of Valemount.
Okay.
This
There's a motion on the...
So I'll move that we nominate Seth McDonald.
Well, sure, I'll second that. Seth is an excellent member of the regional district, not only for arts and culture, for his venture with biofuels, and yeah, fantastic man.
Also played a role in the attempt to keep the Dunster Community School
Yeah,
open.
absolutely.
Okay, motions on the floor, discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
I don't know that one, so.
Yeah.
See this form here, it says, I seek your assistance in informing your municipality about this opportunity to take place.
There's a call for nominations. Okay, so we've got, I'm going to raise my hand in favor. We've got two.
I just don't know.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
Okay.
Your worship, I think individuals can nominate as well.
Okay. Well, I think we've got council all here together right now. This has come to council. It's an order of business. I'll take the vote. All in favor of nominating Seth McDonald, putting his nomination forward. Okay.
You feel he's an appropriate candidate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a super man.
Okay.
Thanks for your vote of confidence. Okay, Unanimous.
You have until March 1st to put forth any names, right?
Okay, further. If there's others, now having nominated somebody, I think that people will be considering what to do with this. We can nominate individually as well. So do we have another meeting before March 1st?
No, we don't.
We don't?
So,
So
individually,
that's it.
you can go forward as well.
As council, that's it. So that was sort of our opportunity, but we've all known about this for more than a month. So, great. Moving on. Correspondence for action. The Royal Canadian Legion is requesting that we take out an ad. Staff recommendation is the value gained through this advertising, we may consider donating the equivalent amount to the local Legion instead.
So last year, was it Tourism Valemount that paid for this ad?
Last year we split it 50-50 with Tourism Valemount. It was a combined ad.
March 1st is the
And what
deadline.
was, the rate sheet isn't here, so I was just wondering how much was it?
Sorry.
Offhand, I think it's $200, but I'm not certain. I'm not certain on that. I can't speak to that.
Have staff consulted with our local Legion here to get their input and feedback on this?
I mean, I think we can make this decision here. I would hope we are empowered to do that at the council level. We could go higher. We could send a request to the province and see what they think, but let's handle this. The opportunity is to either to support the veterans through the advertising campaign through this book regionally, or potentially keep that local.
There's three options. No funding at all to anyone to advertise or to go to the Legion instead, to the local Legion.
Well, I would vote to stay with our local Legion because I know that they've struggled there in the last little bit. But that would be my motion.
I'd like to see it stay within our Legion.
Okay, can we take that as a mover and a seconder? Great. All in favor? Excellent.
Can we get clarity around this then? We need to know how much we would donate.
Okay.
Would it be half the amount of the advertising, which is what
Sure.
you
Can we
would-
look up what we spent last year and go with that?
That makes sense.
We'll have a rate sheet somewhere, right?
But when will we get that? Because the deadline is March 1st.
Right.
So.
Well, there's no deadline in terms of donating to a local
True
Legion.
enough.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The deadline for the ad is March 1st.
We'll get this
right?
figured.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, great. Moving along. Is there anything anybody wanted to pull up from the reading file?
Congratulations
Thank you.
for being selected as, let me read here. It is my pleasure to inform you, dear Andru McCracken, that the Federation of Canadian Municipalities has selected you to receive a Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal in honor of the contributions you've made to your community and all of Canada. Your medal has been sent to you directly from the Governor General of Canada and should soon arrive.
Thank you. That's really cool. I don't know who nominated me,
Yeah, it's great.
but that's quite an honor. I've just got a comment. I'll bring up a comment. I really think the regional district's regional report is really getting the hang of things. I think they're really nailing what's important. In there, this week I noticed a call, or this month rather, I noticed a call for volunteer firefighters. They're really tapping into those issues and bringing up those services that belong to the regional district. It's great to see. Okay.
I'd just like to thank the Success by Six Robson Canoe Valley Committee for keeping us updated on their progress that they're doing, seeing that none of us were able to sit on that committee.
Yeah. Okay, great. So motion to receive the correspondence? Okay. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Bullock, all in favor? Great. Okay, excellent. I'm just calling out their names for the benefit of the media here who are under well, we haven't changed yet. We're still going with the old way. Okay. Moving into administrator reports, 8.1. The cost of Cypress Street road improvement. So council's, there's been much talk in terms of Cypress Street and its state of repair, its condition. I'm going to let, I've already said some stuff that's off. I'm going to let staff set this up, why we're receiving this report. I think it's good that we are. Actually, I'm not going to let staff set it up. I'm just going to say, here's a realistic look at what it costs to bring a road from dirt and dust to an improved road. And it's a lot. It's a big investment, I think, is what staff has come back. So to make it not, to make Cypress not a dusty thing that turns into a sandstorm every time.
Your worship, that would not take care of that. It would still be a gravel road. This is only the cost to bring it to a gravel road.
Mm. Right. Okay, at any rate.
Motion to receive.
I guess we'll have a motion to receive. Councillor Bullock, Councillor Salt. Any discussion on this one? I encourage discussion on this
Well,
one.
we knew it was going to cost us much money. And, hopefully one day we'll be able to go that direction. And today's not the day.
Okay, great. All in favor of receive? Okay. 8.2, family weekend application for funding. So before council is a concept of hosting a dance and drive-in movie, similar to the event that happened in, was it October last year? For the 50th anniversary celebration. Who wants to set this up? Who would be best to take us through this application? Is it John? Okay.
All right, Your Worship. I have to say it was a last minute thought on staff's part. We've been approached by both the company that rented us the drive-in theater, will give us a discount on returning, and the band that played at the dance. And in light of those two approaches, staff came up with a plan to potentially augment the geocaching weekend that is still in the process of being planned. We need to understand that this is just a potential, but as is this application. The application would build that geocaching weekend into a bigger event with a few more items such as the dance and a movie, and would hopefully draw more people into the village that weekend.
Okay. Let's open that for, let's have a motion to, I gotcha. So can we have a motion to receive the report from Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Latimer? And let's have some discussion on this idea.
I'd like to see something that the community can have, something they can use and enjoy. This is a great idea, but it's once and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I mean, we've been talking about a spray park. You know, like, there's all sorts of other things that maybe the community can use. We've got youth initiative groups starting up. You know, it's just this one-time thing versus having something permanent.
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead. No, you go. I totally agree. Also, looking for funding within this community initiative program through CBT when we only have a small pot of money, I'm not in favor. Doesn't add up.
I'm not in favor either. I also agree with Councillor Blanchette that I'd rather see it go towards something more tangible and that can stay long term. I mean, there have been talk about even a more permanent structure on these grounds for use as an amphitheater, as an outdoor bandstand for the farmers market.
Right.
You know, so I think that money could be put to much better use.
I'll throw in a comment here. I wasn't here for it, but High Society came to town. They played at the curling rink again. They played during the 50th celebration. They came. They charged $10 at the door, and I understand they had about 50 people here. So essentially, for $500, we had them come out, and they're an awesome band. And I hear that they really rocked the place. So I think, I know that there's different ways to achieve the same tasks. I think, yeah, at any rate. I sort of concur. I see where the rest of the council is going with this, and I think that that's right. I do hope that we continue to be good advocates of performing arts and make sure that people are coming here and stuff. But I get the thing. It's a lot of money to spend just once. I concur. Okay, well, we don't need to beat it to death. More discussion or different points? Okay, so all in favor of, so we've got this on for receipt.
So you've already received the report. If you like, you could put forward a second resolution that
Okay, and we have to vote on receipt?
you already done that.
Okay, good.
So you got a new motion to not apply that.
So I'll make a motion that we withdraw from applying for this fund.
Okay, don't do it. Great. Councillor Bullock. Okay, all in favor? Okay. All right, so moving along to I need more of a team of people to keep me on track. Only having one on each side isn't quite cut it. I've got on page 24. Okay, so we're moving into bylaws.
Yep.
Okay, right on. I was confused. Okay, so moving into bylaws and policies. Item 14.1 is an item concerning the release of reserve land bylaw 689, 2013. First and second readings. Who is best apt to set us up on this ever so briefly?
The school district has approached the village to release this land that is held in reserve adjacent to the land that the school is located on for use as a school garden. Council approved that on a temporary basis, and this is a bylaw to release that land through a license of occupation.
Right on. Great. I'm glad to see that the terms of occupation have a nominal fee and also include the restoration to natural state at the end of use, if it goes that way. Hopefully it'll be there forever.
Well, and this piece of property was put aside for this purpose.
Councillor Sullivan.
I move to first and second reading. I'll notate, though, there are just a couple punctuation errors that I'll show staff about. They're not worth mentioning.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Councillor Blanchette. All in favor? Great. Excellent. It's great to see that moving along. We make these decisions, but there's all this background stuff that has to happen, so I really appreciate that it's staff and not council that has to look into that. Okay. We have some policy work here. In the next administration report, item 14.2, policy 12, rental of village facilities and property. And the ask here is just to repeal policies 22, Valemount Sportsplex and Kinnickinnick Ball Diamond. Policy 34, the rental of the party tents. And policy 35, use of the information building site. And that council approved updates to policy number 12, including the renaming of the policy from Valemount Community Service Center classroom rental rates to the rental of the village facilities and property. So we're just amalgamating these, making it clear for people.
Nice work. I'm sure that took a lot of time, ladies. Thanks for doing that.
Okay, good. So we'll consider that a motion.
Yeah.
We get a seconder, Councillor Latimer. And any discussion further? All in favor? Great. Wow, that brings us to council reports. Would council mind if I went first?
Go for it.
I've been away for about 10 days. And I had a big trip. And initially I just had a meeting in the beginning and a meeting at the end. And then what do you know? Meetings happen in the middle. It was really quite productive. I went to Castlegar for a meeting on February 15th. It was a great group of people that included much of the brains and experience of the CBT board. The founding chair of the Columbia Basin Trust was there, Josh Schmink. Former water controller Jim Madison, former MLA Corky Evans, who's one of the people who began the trust. If you know what the Columbia Basin Trust is, it's a very different organization. We had the people who started that organization back in the day. They don't think like the rest of us. We also had Cindy Pierce and Kindy Gossel, who are two high-powered sort of consultant types, Kindy with the trust. This was an important centering event, and I want you to know that as we discussed the renegotiation of the Columbia River Treaty, Valemount loomed large. And as an example of one of the communities that was deeply affected, what excites me most about the renegotiation of the Columbia River Treaty is that, I guess the most exciting part is the work that is currently being funded collaboratively by the Regional District of Fraser Fort George and the Columbia Basin Trust. That's being done by Owen Torgerson and Jared Smith here, and with a local advisory panel. My notes on this is that the work being done here doesn't conflict with the aspirations of other communities. This group is working on a positive new course forward that considers the damage and loss that was as a result of the treaty and the inundation and the flooding and the lost opportunities. But it's really focused on building a better future for Valemount, and it's in a way that plays nice with our neighbors. And I think it'll create a better basin and a better province. It was that'll be coming up. We'll have a report from Owen and Jared March end.
Yes.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting to look for, and I think there'll be some nice clues as to Valemount's future as a community, as to where we need to go. Nice to have that work done. I flew back to Vancouver on the 15th, I gather, a couple days later. And on the Sunday, I had the opportunity to meet with Alberto Oberti in Whistler at the Roundhouse. I didn't get to ski Whistler. It wasn't a fun trip like that. It was a meeting. And I was really pleased to get a sense of that community, Whistler. There's one that's just under crushing developmental pressure. I want to say it's evident that we're endowed with some special strengths here, like climate and snow. Those are things that we have. I also think that if we want to make good decisions on behalf of the community as we go forward, if Valemount Glacier Destinations does go forward, we'll need to be informed and united behind a great plan to make the right decisions in the face of big, big development pressure. I think in the heat of the moment, it can be hard to see the big picture. And in some cases, I think you can see in Whistler where it's big everywhere. It's all over the place. It's not very organized or well laid out. You can see where those pressures, happen. It was good to see Mr. Oberti, and the subject of conversation was the Valemount Glacier Destination Resort. Currently, the Village of Valemount is awaiting a decision on, like everybody, we're awaiting the decision on the interim agreement for Valemount Glacier Destinations from Resort Branch. It's with government, and government's going to make a decision whether Valemount Glacier Destinations, the group behind that, can occupy the land, survey it, and take the next step. It's taken a little bit longer, and that raises some red flags for us as a community. And I was able to bring that message to Victoria on February 20th. The conversation was also around rationalizing and preparing for, trying to be smart around any potential construction boom that would happen. And it was just a really good chance to have a nice, cool consideration of how do we know what the project looks like, but how's the project executed in a way that brings Valemount forward, as opposed to just hammering Valemount. Anyways, we've got a lot to do. We haven't, as a council, we've not really made a decision to say, hell or high water, we're going with this project. We really need to see how it looks for us. But I think it's excellent to have that conversation in advance to see if it happens, how do we bring the whole town forward? I traveled to Victoria on February 20th, and I was delighted to meet with Cabinet Minister and our MLA, Shirley Bond. She set up a meeting with herself, Forest Minister Steve Thompson, Minister Pat Bell of Jobs, Tourism and Skills Training. To have the ear of the Cabinet Ministers for Valemount was a treat. And I'll tell you, it wasn't like a lazy day at the legislature. The budget had dropped the day before. and we met at Valemount. It's not me, it's not my charm. It's Valemount gets that much consideration in cabinet that we had 3 of their ministers skip out on lunch and meet with Valemount. What I think the community needs to know is that staff and the organizations in the community make it really easy to have a cogent and informed discussion with cabinet ministers and to have some anticipation of what. There's a real solutions-based approach, which I think cabinet really likes. They hear a lot of griping, they hear a lot of moaning, but I think this group of people that we have working for us and our friends in the community forest are really tuned to what their issues are, and so that makes our presentation to them really effective because we can anticipate what their needs and wants are and achieve it together. I was also happy to hear while I was away that daycare was mentioned in the budget. I was able to bring that up with Shirley Bond, and it's nice to see that that's getting some airplay. What that really means, we don't know yet, but that's nice. Finally, I attended a training seminar in Richmond on February 21st, the end of my trip. The best presentation by far was a session on relationships with First Nations. And I guess if you want to see a really tricky example of a relationship, check out the situation that Kitimat's in. They've sort of not fostered a really great relationship with the First Nations that were next door, who were there at this meeting, and they spoke openly about it. And they spoke about what went wrong. And there was another community there that spoke about how things went right. And I guess what I want to remind everybody is being generous and open and is key, and fostering trust and respect and bringing things to the table. With First Nations partners, as real partners, we can do crazy things together. Things as yet unimagined. There's also a great workshop, I'm going to cut this short, on our approaches to difficult decisions. And it was somebody who'd worked in local government who said, with local governments, said time and time again, local governments find out what the experts say and make other decisions. And she's saying, you're not expert. You're elected. It doesn't make you an expert in building codes. It doesn't make you an expert in community planning or whatever. We need to rely on, in some respects, sometimes, once in a while, staff. I'll go this way. And but when we get help from experts, we need to respect that. There's also a great session on collaborating in conflict, building relationships that solve problems, and I think that'll be really useful. I'm going to close this out. I stayed at my big sister's place, Rita's, and so that was great. It really kept the cost down. She was away on vacation, but it was great because I didn't have to fly back here and back, and I really don't like that, and it's incredibly costly. So it was excellent. And after I got back, I was able to go on the library tour, which I found extremely useful, and I want to thank the library's time for helping make that happen. That's my report.
All right. That's a tough act to follow.
I'll go then. I wasn't very busy actually. On the 18th I had a in-camera meeting. On the 21st, actually we got to meet Gord, the VCTV staff. Our board got to meet our new station manager. The 21st I did a follow-up meeting for Give Youth a Voice because I wasn't able to go the first night, and it was fantastic. The room was packed, the energy was high. Dorothy and Miriam are like fire. You can't help but get enthused, and the kids were really enthused, and it was sort of exciting, you know? Really positive things. They're all keen, ready to go. Then we had the library expansion tour yesterday, and today we had our budget meeting. So it's short.
I had a shorter one.
Oh.
Yeah. I too went on the library tour, and saw the basement. Never saw the basement before. It's clean, it's neat, it's in good repair. It's an amazing building actually, and they've made well use of what they have. Had a VARDA meeting and a budget meeting, and that's it in the last couple of weeks.
Thanks.
Okay, on February the 19th, myself, Silvio, Patricia, Tony, and Marion Farquharson walked the Bigfoot Trail to decide where the viewpoints, benches, trees, picnic tables, and garbage cans were going to go. And that was really, really neat, because not only do we have this great trail that's being used all the time, now we get to be strategic about where we're going to have people sit and put up pictures of the mountains around to show the different ranges that we have, and add a lot of trees down Main Street by the railroad tracks there. So that was the excitement of last week. And today was the budget meeting. Not as exciting.
I too didn't have, could have been busier, but along with a lot of other people in the community, I hadn't been feeling too well, so there were 2 meetings I was unable to attend. But the Wildfire Committee had met on the 19th. I regret that I wasn't able to be there. On the 21st, the Chamber Board had to postpone that meeting. However, I'll just let the community know that if you start seeing some events happening, that you're kind of peering in the window wondering what's going on, well, the Chamber is going to be trying something new, and it's going to be called Business After Business. And it's to try and encourage perhaps more interest in our local chamber and getting more businesses to join up. So the first Business After Business is happening March 7th, and as far as I know at this point, it's by invite only. So if you want to get an invitation, get involved with your local chamber. And then on the 21st, I had a CBT Selection Committee meeting that evening, and we're really rolling and preparing and getting all geared up for this year's round of proposals. Deadline is this Thursday at noon, so if you don't have your applications in yet, get going on that. Braden's waiting. And then Monday we had the library tour for council to see what the Building Expansion Committee is trying to accomplish. Let the council see, you know, what they are currently working with and how they're bursting at the seams, and just do some discussions and collaborations on possible alternative options. And then today's budget meeting, which wasn't that bad. And it was just the first step. It was just a committee of the whole, and that, as far as I understand, staff will be having at our next council meeting, first 2 readings for the public to start to see. And that's it.
Thank you. That's great. So that moves us to, motion to accept. Thank you. Councillor Blanchette, Councillor Bullock, all in favor? And then we have no new business. There is a list of outstanding council resolutions. If you haven't had a chance to check out the full agenda online, there's lots of really useful stuff in there. But then there's also a calendar of events, but that brings us to public comment. So now's the point where the public can speak. We ask you to keep your comments to 2 minutes. We like it if the items you speak to are from the current agenda, and there's a bunch of other stuff, but you're not going to break the rules. And if you do, I will inform you. So are there any people from the public who'd like to speak?
Don't all jump at once.
So I'll just start naming names then. Mr. Schneider? Okay. All right. Moving along then. So just giving Zach a hard time. If there's no public comments, then we will. Do we want to receive them? I'll just move on. The next item, we're at the end of our meeting. It's a notice to proceed in camera. In accordance with Section 91 of the of the Community Charter, this section of the meeting will be held in camera to focus on 4 items: land, municipal service, land and municipal service. Thank you. Okay. Motion to go in camera. Councillor Saul, Councillor Blanchette. All in favor? Good.